This is an introduction to Pokermetrics. My name is Alan Jackson. I'm a longtime professional poker player, making my living through poker for nearly 10 years. I've never been a fan of guessing or accepting conventional wisdom. Since it became possible to parse data using hold'em manager filtering, I've been breaking down the game. First just my game, and then doing it for other players. Over the years, my analysis has become increasingly sophisticated, and Pokermetrics is the result of that evolution. I developed Pokermetrics as I wasn't able to go into nearly the detail I wanted to while doing analysis one-on-one, and there's a lot of information I was lacking. Let's look at some Pokermetrics screenshots so I can better explain what I'm doing. These screenshots are just a small part of the entire report. I currently run over 1,300 filters to produce the report, and it covers every situation where there is a reasonable sample size. Pokermetrics has two goals. First, evaluate the profitability of your play by breaking your game down into a number of different ranges, and secondly, to give you a comparison group to help you determine if you're extracting as much value as you should with your different ranges. I've designed Pokermetrics so it can evaluate a wide range of games. Pokermetrics will never misguide you and cause you to change a part of your game that is working. Here's defense versus min opens. You first evaluate the profitability of your light defenses, and then use the comparison group to evaluate your defense frequencies. The comparison group is a compiled database, currently 2 million hands, with an average win rate of 6.5 big blinds per 100. I update the comparison group every 4 to 5 months to keep the data current. The comparisons group average stake is 400 no limit. You can see in this screenshot that this player is fairly successful when defending light. You can see that in the win rates in lines 4, 6, 7, and 8. Now in the big blind, you have three choices. You can either call, 3-bet, or fold. Because of the one big blind that was posted, whenever you fold, you automatically are losing minus 100 big blinds per 100. So any light defense win rate that's doing better than negative 100 is a positive win rate. And you can see that all his light defenses have better win rates than minus 100. But when compared to the winning red group, his frequencies are significantly lower. You can also see this in the first line, in which his big blind defense versus the button min open is 35% versus the comparisons group's 55% defense frequency. So this player is missing out on significant profits by being too nitty versus a min open. You can also see that this player has some win rate issues. When defending big blind versus the button min open, his win rate is 22.8 versus the comparison group's 42.7. This is particularly concerning because his defense frequency is low, giving him a higher value concentration of defense hands. This player will need to go into out of position, flop defense section, and review his play there and see what he can improve about his out of position play. Here's a small portion of the flop c-bet evaluation. Button, small blind, 3-bet, and squeeze pots are broken out separately. The first line shows that there is some small issue when seeing the flop as the pre-flop opener, since it has a negative impact factor. The soft flop frequency is high, reflecting either very high button small blind stealing and or his opponent's call as opens more. In the pre-flop section, we take a detailed look at opening frequencies and results, so we'll already know if there are any issues with the bottom of his opening ranges. The win rate reflects some issues. Since the impact factor is only moderately poor, it's not a major issue. The second line shows that the issue isn't when they c-bet, as their frequency is equal to that of the comparison group and their profits are much higher. So the issue must lie with either play versus donks or some aspect of their checking game or some combination of those two. You can see at the bottom of this screenshot that this player is losing more than they should when checking low value and backdoor hands, both in position and out of position. So this player should review their turn calling and river calling. If that doesn't provide clear answers, they should filter for this spot and evaluate their strategy by replaying hands. Play versus donks is in another section of the flop play evaluation. Here's river calling. First line shows that there is an issue here. We can see that this player's frequency is slightly lower than average, but his win rate is significantly lower than average. That's a difference of 127 big blinds per 100, or nearly 1.3 big blinds per call. That is significant. Average frequency and poor results usually means they are doing poorly in large pots. You can look at this player's calling under 15 big blinds and he's doing okay, but as pot sizes get bigger, his results get significantly worse. He also seems to have an issue when calling near pot-sized bets on the river. This final screenshot is the flop section from the part of the report that reviews redline play. The box to the right evaluates non-showdown and showdown play. It takes the results from each group of hands, compares the player's results to the comparison group's results, and then calculates how that part of their game is impacting their overall win rate. This player has a very aggressive post-flop game, which is reflected in their very positive non-showdown win rate impact, but they have significant showdown issues. Towards the bottom of this screenshot, you can see that this player does very well when missing the flop, absolutely crushing the comparison group's results. Their issue is when they flop value hands with a lower than average win rate and win frequency. This is usually reflective of the issue that we saw in the previous river calling screenshots. I often find these players project their own aggressiveness onto their opponents and end up losing money hero calling on the turn and or river. Here's the pricing for the report as of April 2014. You'll need to email me or check my 2+2 coaching ad to get current pricing. For the full report, for 200 no limit and above, it's $395. For 100 no limit and below, it's $295. For that price, you get the full report where I run over 1,300 filters on your game. You also get the comparisons to the winning red group. You get a written guide and a video guide. The written and video guide are not custom guides based on your report, but general guides to help you interpret your report. I also offer a 75-minute recorded review of your report, evaluating all the areas of your game impacting your win rate the most. I charge $175 for that review, plus the cost of your report. I'll also do a recorded comprehensive review of your game for an additional $595, plus the cost of your report. You get around 4 hours, possibly more, whatever it takes to fully evaluate your game, of recorded video where I review your game in detail and make custom Hold'em Manager 2 filters so you can review and evaluate your future play in your problem spots. There will be a detailed written report in which I will lay out exactly what I think your problem areas are and prioritize their importance. I highly recommend the comprehensive analysis. The vast majority of the players that purchase Pokermetrics do get the comprehensive analysis. You're getting the benefit of 5+ years of my work analyzing databases and reviewing over 200 Pokermetrics reports. I spend a lot of effort in evaluating your game, usually spending around 8 hours doing my evaluation. If your poker hourly is over $50, it's very plus EV to have me do a comprehensive review. The advice you get with my comprehensive review falls into 4 categories. Clear advice on how to change your game. For example, I might say something like, your 3-bet bluffing in the cutoff is 50% higher than average and bleeding money. Be more selective with the spots you pick, use positional fold versus 3-bet stats, and only 3-bet bluff if they fold pre-flop over 60% and or have a high fold flop C-bet in 3-bet pots. Here's a filter for that exact spot. Run it in the future to see if your 3-bet bluffing game becomes profitable. Use this filter to replay old hands and analyze your decision process. As I go through the report, I'll also check for related spots like flop, C-bet, value, and bluffs in 3-bet pots, and make sure there aren't issues after you 3-bet. I'll show you all the spots in your game, where it's working, and where you can expand your ranges. There's a huge amount of value derived from the confidence in knowing what is working for you in difficult to analyze spots such as flop, C-bet bluffing, light defenses versus min opens, light calls versus 3-bets, etc. Filters to look deeper into underperforming spots in your game where the cause isn't clear. These are almost always value ranges with low win rates and average frequencies. For example, when you flop a value hand as a pre-flop opener, you're winning significantly less than expected. Bet and fold versus raise frequencies are average. Here's a filter for that spot. Replay these hands and look for patterns. Often I find that the issue is reflective of hand reading issues and paying off too frequently when a value hand is second best. As I evaluate the rest of your game, I'll be looking at related turn and river spots to determine what part of your game is off. Lastly, lots of stat advice. Whenever I see a problem area, I'll break down the stats that I use in that spot to help make decisions. I'll also give you any insight that I have into regulars, average frequencies, and range construction in those spots. If you're interested in a Pokermetrics review of your game, you can email me at support@ajacksonpoker.com.